Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the AmandaFest podcast, where our mission is to inspire and empower our listeners to take aligned action towards their dream lives, whatever that looks like for you. I'm very excited to introduce my friend Jana. We met at summer camp ages ago, which I'm sure we'll get into. But right now, Jana is a New York City-based actor, comedian, writer, director, and producer. She's been featured on Saturday Night Live for the past 7 seasons and currently works at the Second City in New York. On top of all of this, she also started her own business called Improv Your Communications, which blends the principles of comedic improv with corporate team building. I'm so stoked to get into today's topic, which is going to be all about how to be both the executive producer and director of your own life. Before we dive in, I just want to take a second for us all to get present. I know I need it. I think I've had 2 coffees today, so there's lots of energy running through my body, and I just want to get as present as humanly possible before this conversation so I can absorb all of the juice and all of the magic that Jana has to offer for us. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if it's safe to do so, I invite you to close your eyes. I always like to put a hand on my heart and one on my belly. And just start noticing your breath. Notice if you're holding tension in your neck, maybe in your jaw and your shoulders. And then noticing where you're holding tension, maybe see if you can breathe into those spaces. Just let them release and relax a little bit. Unclench that jaw. Maybe roll your shoulders out. Move your head from side to side. Just let go of the stress of the day. I'm just going to take a couple nice cleansing breaths together to get into our bodies. And with the inhale, I want you to think of something that you're calling in, something that you want more of in your life, something that feels good and juicy. And with the exhales, I want you to think of something that you're ready to let go of, that you're holding on to, that you don't want to hold on to anymore. It no longer serves you. You're ready to let it go. So we'll do a couple nice cleansing breaths together like that. Nice deep breath in. Hold it at the top and exhale. One more time. Nice deep breath in. And on this last one, if it feels good, you can make some noise, shake it out, just really get into your body. Nice deep breath in and out. Amazing. Welcome. Welcome to your body. Welcome to AmandaFest. And welcome, Jana. How's it going? How you
Hi.
feeling?
Hi, Amanda. It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
Girlfriend, of course. So before we dive into it, I think it would be kind of fun to tell how we met.
Do you want to tell the story, babe, or should I?
Oh my gosh. Well, we can take turns. Like you can tell a part, I can tell a part, we can chime in. I don't even remember what year it was, but Jana and I went to this really incredible summer camp.
Magical. Called
Magical
Woods.
Frenchwood's Festival of the Performing Arts. How many years did you go for?
I went for 7, 8 maybe years to French Woods, and I went for the whole summer. And I just remember every time I saw you, you were just such a light. Everyone was like always on the Amanda train. You were friends with everyone like you are now. And I was like, who is that girl who looks like Blake Lively and is just the most popular girl in school? And then we became friends.
Jana.
Duh.
First of all, I love you. Second of all, same. I went for 10 years. Jana, you're, I mean, like this, because this is going to turn into a little love fest, isn't it? Thank
I'm
you.
just gonna be your hype, Jan, Amanda.
Thanks. But basically, Frenchwoods, just to give a little bit of context, Frenchwoods is this summer camp in upstate New York. It is where all of the Broadway kids, like actually literally children that were on Broadway at the time, would go and spend their summers playing with the normals. So I mean, like, really, that's what it
Playing
was.
with the normals.
So every 3 weeks, it was broken up into sessions. We would have majors and minors like you do in college, and it was a very serious performance camp. So there was improv troupe, there was full-length musical productions, there were plays, there was a circus, the world's largest children's circus, there was dance, and then there was, of course, the normal camp stuff, right? Like the rock climbing and all that stuff. But people would go there and everyone took it very seriously. And this was the place where we got to hone our craft and really get to feel professional, feel like professional performers.
That was where I first started doing improv,
which is
was
amazing,
Frenchwoods.
which is unbelievable. So cut to Jana and I, we spent summers together. We did shows together. I think you even played my mom at one point in a play.
Oh my God, I did play your mom. I played your mom. Isn't that the most wonderful thing about middle school theater? Is like you're just playing the mom to a person who's a couple months older than you in real life. Like,
so funny.
And I'm like using like eyeliner to make wrinkles in my forehead. Like,
so funny. So cut to I'm bouncing around the world right now. This is actually my last episode in New York City that I'm recording, because right after this recording, I am hopping on a plane and going on with my journey. So I've been in New York for the last couple months, bouncing in and out. Jana and I had this beautiful rekindling of our relationship. We realized that we were staying just a couple blocks away from each other. And we've been doing our little hot girl walks where we go on these walks and we talk about life and we talk about boys and we talk about business. And Jana, when you told me what you've been up to these last, 10 years, I was like, girl, yes.
I love you.
Yes.
I love you so much. Amanda, you're killing it. Before we talk about me, we just have to set the stage that like you are so intentional, so driven, so purposeful in this podcast. And I'm going to call it now. This is going to get huge because I don't see any option for you in your career other than tremendous success. So I genuinely am so excited to be like one of the first guests.
Do you mean you genuinely?
Did you just say genuinely? Okay, that was great.
I feel like that was a Miss Jana-ism.
Oh, a genealogy? Do you mean a genealogy?
I think that was a missed genealogy, a missed no, that doesn't work. I was gonna say like opportunity.
Cut it in post. Cut it in post.
I don't even think I could cut it in post. I think I have to.
What I need to ask you is what's next on the agenda for us?
On the agenda, right? So Jana and I, Amanda, Jana, agenda. Now, when we do our little work sessions, which we do often, we do these little co-working sessions where she'll run her comedy sketches for me. I'll talk to her about my business and my content stuff, and we just go back and forth. And when we do those sessions, they're called the agenda. So here's what's on the agenda. I would love to dive in. Thank you so much for that beautiful reflection. I obviously feel the same about you. That is why you're here. I want to hear from the woman herself. So Frenchwoods was done. We finished summer camp. Then we went to college.
We went to American University.
Okay.
We were not sure if we were going to major in neuroscience or musical theater.
So similar.
I know. Well, I think one is learning about the inner workings of the brain. And I think theater is a lot about learning about characters' behaviors and how the choices they're making in their brain are then externally expressed. Mm-hmm. That all being said, I was basically the College of Arts and Sciences. Perfect. Then went to American, majored in musical theater, and then while I was there, I started also taking my first classes over the summer at Second City. And then I got back to American.
And really quick, what is Second City for people that don't know?
Second City, for people that don't know, is like a major comedy school that teaches improv and sketch comedy. Tina Fey used to work there. They also have an incredible theater where they do sketch comedy shows and improv shows. Keegan-Michael Key used to work there. It's just a really, really fun place to explore comedy as an art. So I started taking classes at Second City, And I was like, this is awesome because I love musical theater, but I felt a lot of times like I was being put in a box in musical theater casting. And so sketch comedy gave me an opportunity to write the women I wanted to see on stage, as opposed to the woman that people wanted me to be on stage.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be larger than life characters. I wanted the women to be the ones who have the punchline, not just the setup to the joke. So that was really fun. And I got to basically direct and write my first main stage sketch comedy show at American. And that was kind of my first taste of the sketch comedy Kool-Aid. And then I did the Disney college program while I was at American.
I didn't even know that.
Off.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, right. Like I have resting smile face. Like
so what is the Disney college program for those who don't know?
For those who don't know, the Disney college program. I'm not paid by Disney, by the way. I just loved this program. The Disney college program is like a semester abroad, but at Disney World. And then you work there semester abroad, like in Orlando, Florida.
By the way, for those who are listening and not watching, we're playing around with the air quotes. But I did my semester abroad, air quotes. My school was in Boston and my abroad program was in LA. So same thing.
Yes, exactly. So I did my semester abroad at Disney World in Orlando, and I worked there. And then after that, I auditioned for the musical Legally Blonde at Disney World, got cast in Legally Blonde, so we stayed there. So we started performing at Disney, and then...
Who did you play in Legally Blonde, just out of curiosity?
I played the blonde.
Were you Elle?
I played... What?
Elle?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know, Legally Blonde was the last musical I was ever in my whole life.
Really?
I did it my
Who
senior...
did you play?
I was Serena.
Oh, I love her song.
I sang Bend and Snap. It was my senior year of high school. And then I was like, great, if I'm never in another show the rest of my life, like this was the one. Like,
right, exactly. And it was an awesome experience performing at Disney. Then I went to University of Edinburgh. For actual study abroad. And that was the first time that I did stand-up. I was in a sketch group with a bunch of guys, and they were like, we're going to go see, like, Finnegan, or whatever his name was. We're going to go see Finnegan do stand-up tonight. Jana, do you want to come?
Can you do the rest of the podcast in that accent?
Totally. They were like, do you want to come, lassie? I was like, okay, sure, Braveheart, whatever. We'll go watch some stand-up. Then I was watching a guy on stage do his stand-up set, and I was like, I think I could do this. And I was like writing jokes on my napkin at the time, watching him.
Do you have the napkin still?
I don't have the napkin. But I was writing jokes on my napkin that were really probably not that funny, but I was really going for it. And then they were like, okay, that's our show. Does anybody else want to perform? And he looked at me, the host, and he was like, Blondie, do you want to get up on stage? I'm like, I'm good, Shrek. Like, I'm good. And he was like, Blondie. I'm like the marvelous Mrs. Maybe. I don't know if I'm going to go up on stage and do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done stand-up before. But I just said yes to the moment.
Yeah. Ooh.
And I think a lot about progressing in this life, personally, professionally, is saying yes to the moment.
Yeah.
So I just was like, I'm going to say yes to the moment, got up on stage and did the 3 jokes I wrote plus some improv. And I remember hearing people laugh and thinking, like genuinely thinking, I have never felt this feeling before. It felt like, now, I've never done hard drugs, but I have a feeling it feels like stand-up. I was like, oh my God, I love this. And then I just wanted to keep getting better at it. And then I graduated American. And then my first job out of college was Saturday Night Live. And I was an extra.
As it is, you know.
Well, I was an extra on a sketch at SNL,
But
and I was
still,
so excited, and I was, like, in the background, you can maybe see a sliver of my arm, like, you could barely see me, but I was so excited to be at that show, and then I continued over the years just smiling, showing up on time, and learning everyone's names, and then during the pandemic, I started standing in for Kate McKinnon. And then I kept standing in for Kate McKinnon, and I got to do Kate's blocking, and then Kate would go in. And then I would get to do Kate's blocking, Kate would go in. And then one time I got to do her lines at 8H, and then Kate would go in. And I got this kind of master class in comedy watching Kate McKinnon and the other cast members at SNL up close and personal.
So a couple episodes back, I had my friend John come on. He manifested his way to his dream real estate job, whatever. His big piece of advice, he was like, get as close to the thing that you want as humanly possible. Even if you have to do it for free, even if it's not, like, he's like, just get close to it, be in proximity to it, because that
Totally.
is how you can, start working your way towards showing up. So even if it's like a sliver of your arm, this and that, you're like, you're in the
Totally.
room with the fucking greats. Like, you're in there. Like,
Totally. And until you can be in the room where it happens, be in the hallway. Like,
love.
kind of like what you're saying is be in the orbit of the thing that you want to be doing. And maybe you're not exactly a part of that solar system yet, but be a part of the orbit, be in the interstellar medium of that area that you want to be in.
Love.
So yeah, that was kind of how I got to SNL. Was I just kept doing featured background work, and then I started standing in for cast members, and then I started photo doubling for hosts like Kristen Wiig and standing in for like Chloe Feynman, and I got this kind of comedy education at SNL, being on set and doing dress rehearsals and doing rehearsals and
Well, and
all of
I
that.
imagine you kept getting called back to these opportunities because of the way that you showed up in whatever version of the opportunity it was. Do you want to touch on that a little bit? I'm making this up,
Totally.
but I imagine that's
You are very, very perceptive. Yes, that's exactly, I feel like, how I think I really did start getting more and more opportunities, because no matter what the opportunity was, I would show up, learn everyone's name, and genuinely ask them, how are you? Not just the casting directors, learn costumers' names, learn the stage manager's name, learn everyone's name, and just be a pleasure to work with, because you never know what opportunities are going to arise. Like, I got cast on an Amazon commercial because I worked at SNL, and one of the girls at SNL knew me and then wound up auditioning for one of the SNL directors for this commercial. So you never know what opportunities are going to rise by just be there, smiling, ready, on time, and know everyone's names. If you do
and
nothing else.
and know more than you're supposed to know. I know that I came over to your house for dinner and we don't have to talk about who or what or any of the logistics, but I'm going to gas you up for a second.
No.
I'm going to do it as a
Girl.
stand-in, right? The likelihood of, for people that aren't in that industry, the likelihood of you actually getting to do the lines of the person that you're standing in for is very low. Most of the time, it's just for blocking. It's when the other person's scene's happening. It's for lighting purposes. They have stand-ins because once you get to a certain level, when you're an actor, your time is extremely valuable, and it takes hours and hours and hours to set up the lights, to film other people's scenes. So most of the time, the actual person that is doing that role has a stand-in like Jana, but most of the time that stand-in is only there just to be a body. But once in a while, and you never know when this is going to happen, there's a very small chance that you may be asked to recite that person's lines. And I imagine it's not uncommon for someone to be on script at that, but like, they're like, oh, I don't know it, let me read it, whatever. Jana, who's like, I'm going to be the most professional version of this as I humanly can be, on the extreme off chance that I get asked to speak this person's lines. Not only am I going to be off book, which means fully memorized, knowing all the lines, I'm going to study this person to a T and not do my own rendition of that performance, but I'm going to literally verbatim do the exact performance of the person that I'm standing in for. And I'm going to be ready to do that whether they ask me to do it or not. And then I know very recently on a certain thing that you were doing, that opportunity arose and people were fucking blown away. So
Thank you. You're the best. I feel like a lot of it is have your shoes tied. It doesn't matter if you're not on the track yet. Have your laces tied. So that means showing up early, showing up with a smile. That means before every project you get onto, whether you're an extra, whether you're a stand-in, or whether you're a recurring role or a co-star or a lead in a musical, know everybody who works on that project. So I would say there's a scene in The Parent Trap. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Where she's going through showing her twin, this is grandfather.
yeah,
This is so and so. You need to be like Lindsay Lohan in The Parent Trap. You need to know who everyone is in that family.
you have to study the cast, study the supporting characters, study the extras, know everyone.
Totally. Also, the moment you enter the building, you're at work. So I would say operate with a level of professionalism, whether you're in the bathroom of the building, whether you're in dress rehearsal. I would say do not ever say anything on a set or a stage or in a professional setting that you wouldn't want said on a microphone in that building.
All of this advice is completely applicable to any industry, to any type of job, to anything.
Totally.
Is that showing up in this way lets other people know that you mean fucking business, that you're ready to take.
Yeah. The take home message is be ready and be a good person. And that means whether it's the janitor in the building that you're talking to or whether you happen to see Lauren Michaels in the hallway, you should be just treating everyone with a lovely level of respect and just smiling and learning everyone's names and being prepared for anything.
100%. Could not agree more. I think that's amazing advice. I'd love to dive into, so I know that you're teaching at Second City. I'd love to hear a little bit about that, but I'm also really curious to hear about how Improv Your Communications came to be. So you're acting, you're producing, you're writing, you're doing all these things. Like, where did Improv Your Communications come from? How did that come to be?
Totally. So I was doing film and TV, and then the writer's strike happened. And I felt like I was kind of gaining momentum, and then writer's strike happened, and there was very little work. So I was like, how am I going to make a living as an actor? How am I going to feed myself? And I think that if you're applying for jobs and you're not really getting those jobs, or you feel like things are going slow and there's not a lot of opportunities, whether it's a strike or just a slow period, so often we're looking for a seat at the table. But my best advice that I can give everybody watching is build the fucking table. If you want a seat at the table, build your own table and then invite your friends to come sit at your table and eat the meals that you want to serve. And that's how I felt. I was like, I don't want to wait for a seat at the table.
I fucking love this.
I am not waiting for a seat at the table anymore. I will build the fucking table. So I developed a business where I basically offer improv workshops and I offer shows that I produce for organizations and corporations that are based in the theories of improv.
Love.
And basically what that means is we offer hour-long, day, week-long workshops with companies and organizations where we use comedic principles of improv to improve confidence and communication through comedy, essentially.
Love.
So I first offered this to an organization that was a nonprofit. Then from that experience, they asked me to do a workshop on Capitol Hill. It was for 70 patients who experienced liver diseases. After that, I got asked by Merrill Lynch to start training their financial advisors. And I never would have expected that improv would have taken me to Capitol Hill or to training a Fortune 100 company. That being said, I just kept saying yes and to my own life.
Yeah.
Taking that tenet of improv that we all know and love is just yes and. So saying, I'm accepting what I'm being given, I'm accepting there's a strike, and then you say and to the thing. So you say, yes, I'm accepting that this is a slow time, and I'm going to create my own business during this time.
It's a duality of trust and surrender while also taking
Mhm.
action. Because I think that when you say the word surrender, so many people get mixed signals about that because they're like, all right, well, if I surrender, does that mean like give up? And it's like, no, surrender doesn't mean to give up, to stop trying. Surrender is yes and. That's what it is. It's acceptance
Yes.
of the circumstance that you're being presented with
Yes.
and leaning into that and allowing, you know, okay, that doesn't mean that I just have to let this all happen. And like, it's like life is happening for me, not to me.
Totally. And I think the thing is like the women that I admire most, like you, Amanda, you do this so well. And like the women that I admire most professionally, they don't wait to be put on a project, they spearhead the project.
Yeah.
And the women that I really admire, like I really, really, really admire the career of Margot Robbie. Like, and
Oh
this
my God. Yeah. Yeah.
last summer putting together the Barbie movie, like, of course, we know Margot as this incredible actress, but Margot Robbie was like, I want to do Barbie. I'm going to executive produce it. And then what she did was the table thing, where she's like, I'm not going to wait for a seat at the table. I'm going to produce Barbie. And then I'm going to invite Greta Gerwig to sit at my.
And her production company is one of the most well-oiled machines, well-respected production companies in the fucking industry. And she played the game. She was like, I'm going to utilize my star power and undercut it with my actual fucking brain and talent.
Yeah, of course. And then I think the really important part of that is then once you create that table, then you get to say, I want somebody like Greta Gerwig to come sit at my table, another woman who's so talented in her field.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. And the other women that I really admire too are like Reese Witherspoon. She created her own
everything.
incredible production company, book club.
Yeah.
Once she said, I'm going to create the table, she started inviting other women who are incredible screenwriters, other actresses like Kerry Washington to sit at her table and then create the projects like Big Little Lies that she wanted to create with other really talented people and especially giving other opportunities to women.
Yep. I love that we're on this topic. I am cooking up something very, very exciting. My next project that's inspired actually from what you've done with Improv Your Communications. We'll dive into that when the time is right, but it is very, very women-centered and very in line with women helping women.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud. But this is the thing. We pull cards before every episode. And we pulled this wolf spirit card together, and it was but it was talking about the importance of the duality between individualism and pack mentality, right? Where it's like the wolf is on its own, it's doing its thing, it's most important, like that independence, that individualism is so important. But then it's like, once you stay committed to your own individual path and you build that fucking table, then it's about calling in the community, calling in your tribe of like-minded wolves so you can all howl at the moon together. That's what we're doing. And I think it's like, if you were to be building your own thing and I was just kind of like, oh, Jana, cool. Yeah. But I think that there's this mutual love and respect that we each have for each other because we're like, wow, I see what you're doing over there and I want to be a part of it. I want to support it.
100%.
I want to love it. I want to hype you. And I love that you're doing this thing and vice versa. And we could feed into it. That's the piece I think that today's society is missing a little bit. And I'll maybe say more of like Western world. We've just really created this hyper independent individual. Let's go live in separate houses with acres and acres between us. And you do that and I do this. And it's like, but yes, let's build our separate kingdoms and then let's build a fucking moat.
Oh, wait, I have one more analogy to add to this,
I
if
want
I
10
can.
more. I want
I
10.
have one more, I promise, and then cut me off all the metaphors. Um, I to echo what you're saying 100%, something I say often is lionesses hunt together.
Yeah.
And this is something that I really cherish in my female friendships and also in business, personally and professionally, is that one of the top apex predators, the one of the top of the food chain, lionesses still pack together when they hunt. And I think it's important to find your lioness pack. And that
Mm,
does not mean the women who are secretly jealous of you. That does not mean the women who are only there on your good days or only there on your bad days. That means find your lioness pack of other really talented, smart, ambitious, fast women who are hunting. And then bring them on your team, bring them in your circle, because then you're going to get more together.
yeah.
And that is what I encourage everyone to find is
Yeah.
whatever your gender is, find your lioness pack.
It's so true though. I am very in the spiritual space, and when I first
Mhm.
got involved in spirituality, there was a lot of talk about this inherent sister wound that so many people
Mm.
have. And I was like, huh, interesting. It sounds like, based on all of my experience and talking to so many women have experienced that jealousy, that
Mm.
competitiveness, that backstabbingness, the gossip, all of these things. I saw a quote recently that was talking about when you're at a certain level, everybody is your competition. But then when you get to a higher level, everybody is a potential collaborator. And you're shifting
Mm.
your mindset from, ooh,
Yeah,
what are you doing over there? I'm jealous of you, to like, no, how can we support each other? How can we work together? There's enough room for all of our genius. None of us have to be in direct competition with each other at all because everybody brings their own little magic and spice to each thing. When you start copying people verbatim and not putting your own spin on it and trying to sell it off as yours, different story, which people
totally.
do. And that'll come back to bite you because people can feel that inauthenticity. But I think that the good ones will always rise to the top. You'll be able to feel them, sense them. But I also want to loop back to, but before we even started, we were talking about how to become the director of your own life. And you were like, director, executive producer, and director. You want to touch on that a little bit?
Totally. I think we live in a society where we're often consuming things.
Yeah.
We're consuming entertainment. We're consuming all of the reels on our phone. I do it too, ladies. I am sitting there. They're like, wow, she's been in the bathroom forever. Meanwhile, I'm through 20 reels. We are often consuming things. And especially with social media, we're consuming what other people are doing all the time. I encourage everyone to try to operate from a mindset of creation rather than consumption. I
Mm,
think you will be more fulfilled in your life. And that's not to say that being a creator is not incredibly hard, and you will have lots of obstacles and you will have people who ridicule you or don't support what you do. But that's all to say that I would so much rather be a creator of my own life than a consumer in it.
this doesn't have to mean I'm a creator on Instagram or I'm a creator of a show or I'm a creator of this and that. It could
Totally.
literally be as simple of like, I'm going to a concert tonight. I'm either going to consume the music, consume the drugs, consume the alcohol, consume this, consume that,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna, before I even go to the festival, before I even go to the show, I'm gonna get clear on why am I going? What is the purpose? What's my intent?
Mm,
Am I obsessed with this artist and my intention is to like really like get into the music? Is
yeah.
my intention, I'm going with my friend Jana and I really want some quality time and I just want
Yeah.
to like dance and play and have fun? Is my intention, I want to meet someone and I want to look really hot and like call in a
Yeah.
partner? You're creating your experience. Of course, whatever happens, happens, that things unfold. But if you go in with this creation mentality versus consumption mentality. To your point, it's like instead of allowing life to just take you on autopilot, you're steering the ship a little bit because you're clear
Yeah.
on which direction you want the boat to go, you know?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is you are the writer of your own story. It sounds cliche, it sounds hackneyed. You are the writer of your own story. You are the director, you are the executive producer. And you have the opportunity to write a kick ass book. So write the best fucking story of your life, right? And then also, I think to get a little bit philosophical with this idea of creator versus consumer,
Yeah.
you don't have to consume the ideas of what other people think you are.
Yep.
So if they're telling you you are meant to play blonde woman girlfriend roles, you don't have to consume that idea. You don't have to take that idea to heart. You can create opportunities where you get to play the roles you want to play. Or in your own life, if people are viewing you in a certain way in your friend circles, professionally, in a familial sense, even, you don't have to consume those ideas about you. You get to create who you are, what you do, your schedule, and your dream life. Why wouldn't you?
Hi, that's the whole intention of AmandaFest. You create it.
Come on.
And it doesn't have to look like, I always love this caveat of like, whatever that looks like for you. There is no
Totally.
ideal dream life. It's not the fucking yacht and the cars
Totally.
and the this and the that. Your dream life could be as simple as I want to be able to fully sustain myself as an actor slash comedian. I don't want a day job. I want to be able to pay rent on my own, and I want to be able to whatever it is.
I think just in general,
General?
in general. Oh my god, that was fantastic. Um, um, in general, you don't have to ascribe to the cookie cutter life that somebody else leads. You don't have to ascribe to even their version of success. You get to, again, be the director and executive producer of your own life. And I empower you to, after this podcast, if you want to, something that really helps me is write down what a day in your dream life looks like. Write down top to bottom. And then, if there's anything in your life, this is a skill I use a lot. We call it Janifestation. If you're Janifesting your dream life,
Or Amanda, if you're Janifesting or
Amanda-
AmandaFesting.
I love it. Something I do a lot is you write down the goal. So if the goal is become an executive producer of a late night show one day, then what are the steps that I need to take in order to get there? And what I do is you work backwards. So
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
what are the 3 steps that you need to take to get there? Okay, let's work at a late night show. Wherever we're working on it, let's work at a late night show. Boom, check. Then what's the next thing you need to do? Okay, I need producer experience. So I need to produce my own show. Okay, I'll produce my own show. I'll do it at Second City. I'll make it a breast cancer benefit show because I want to support other women. And I'll do it on a comedy stage that's well known enough that it'll give me credibility while also helping to support women with their health. Check. Then let's keep going and just write just the next step toward the goal. But at the top of the paper, put the ultimate goal. Like, what's the ultimate goal professionally or personally? This works like if this is just have a stronger friend group, put that at the top of your paper. Like, have a great Lioness pack.
I
Have my own
love
Lioness pack.
this.
Then start writing just the steps that lead you closer to that goal, and then just take one step at a time. So if it's have a stronger friend group of really supportive women, okay, I'm going to reach out to 3 of my friends this week, goal, leading up to the ultimate goal. Or reach out to 3 of my friends this week who I feel support me, my dreams and my goals, who I love hanging out with, and I'm going to have coffee with 3 other amazing women this week. Boom. Next step, I'm going to throw a party and have all my friends come. Like, whatever it is, write the top line goal and then just write all of your next best steps that you think could lead to it.
I love this so much. I can't wait to do this, like right when we hop off. I also read something this week similar to this that basically said, let's say the dream is, let's use
Totally.
public speaker, whatever it is, whatever the top line dream is. If that dream were to come true tomorrow, let's say out of nowhere, you didn't even have to do the steps, you didn't even have to do it, it's there, you have it, what you want is here. Are you
Yeah.
prepared to receive it? So for instance, let's say your dream is to be a cast member. Do you want to be in the best shape of your life for that? Okay, are you going to the gym? Do you need to get your hair colored? It doesn't need to be all physical things, but it's like, if you act as if it's happening tomorrow, then that means that you're ready. You're prepared, because you could sit there all you want and say, oh, I want this, I want that, I want that. But if someone was like, here you go, you're like, wait, I don't have the social media following I want, and I'm not consistent with my content, and I haven't got my hair done in 3 weeks, and I don't even have an outfit for that. And you're like, you're like, oh my God.
Totally.
And it's like, well, get ready, because it's coming. Like,
Get your shoelaces tied.
tie your, that's it. It's tie your shoelaces. Get ready.
Tie your shoelaces.
And assume the coach is going to put you into the race. Assume
do
that.
everything you can to be ready for your big opportunity.
Yeah.
And that way, when they're like, Jana, it's time to get on the track, my shoelaces are tied. And
You
they're
don't-
double knotted.
Because what happens, talk about tying the shoelaces, some people are dying to be on the track and don't even own the shoes.
And also, I would say this, tie the shoelaces so that when they're ready to put you on the track, you're ready to go. But also, every day you should be running. And
Yeah.
this is another thing that I think people want, like I said, like they want opportunity to knock.
Yeah.
Like opportunity to come to them, right? I think you really need to create your own opportunities. And the best way to do that is by practicing on your own.
Yep.
So if you want to be an executive producer one day at a late night show, I'm just using this random example.
Jana, do you want to be an executive producer at a late
What?
night one day?
Why would I give that example? That came out of nowhere.
Jana, is that what you want? Is that your dream?
Oh, who said that? Not me. I think you, whatever it may be, right? Let's say you want to be an actor in a feature film, then you should be taking film and TV classes every week. You should be doing that. You should be practicing. Don't sit at home scrolling on your phone through TikTok thinking that opportunity is going to knock.
Or prepping. Like, I was listening to a podcast yesterday and it was talking about, have you ever read the book Atomic Habits? I haven't read it.
It's a great book. It's a great book.
I haven't read it, but I listened to a podcast and the person on the podcast read it. And now I'm on another podcast talking about someone on a podcast reading the book.
I love it. I love it.
But she was talking about motion versus action, where it's like motion is you're doing all the prep, you're researching people that you want your inspo and you're doing your vision board, you're doing that. And it tricks your mind into thinking that you're actually doing something productive versus actually putting yourself in the room. I also read something recently that was talking about the most successful people in the world in life are the people where the amount of time between an idea and execution is really small. Because what people do is they have this idea and they're like, well, I'm not ready. I have to prepare and I have to think about this and I have to do that. And then they never fucking do it.
I think the reason that they don't is because multitude of reasons, don't feel ready, anxiety, self-worth, all of that. But I think also people don't take the time to write down the 3 logical steps to get to the thing.
Yeah.
So my advice to you for an actionable thing that you can do to help fight the anxiety, if you're like, I want to start a fashion line, or I want to start a business, or I really want to start creating a weekly gathering of other artists, whatever it may be, just literally write down the goal and then the 3 steps that you think could help lead to it on a piece of paper.
Love.
And then start with the first step. Because I think the really hard thing is people are like, I want to write a sitcom. And then I'm like, okay, what's the next step? What's just the next step? If you want to write a sitcom, is it getting your pilot in front of producers? And then is it messaging them on LinkedIn and saying, hey, do you have time to meet to look at my pilot? Or can I send this your way?
Yeah.
Whatever the next step is, just write down the next 3 steps.
Yeah. Love. Love. Well, this leads us beautifully into talking about what is next for Jana. I'm going to put a link down below. It's going to have Jana's full resume on there. It's going to have links to connect with her, But tell us, for those who are dying to listen, what is the best way to get in contact with you? How can people support you? And what is the latest and greatest?
Amazing. I am currently executive producing, hosting, and a stand-up comedian on Bits for Tits, which is a stand-up comedy breast cancer benefit at the Second City, New York. It's going to be the first ever main stage stand-up show at the Second City, New York. I'm so excited to be hosting it and executive producing. We're going to have comedians from Netflix, Saturday Night Live, Late Night with Seth Meyers, and it'll be on October 6th at 7:30 p.m. Doors open at 7 on the Second City main stage. And I am so excited. All of the ticket proceeds will be going to support early detection and help support women with breast cancer.
Amazing.
And all of the ticket proceeds will be going to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, who we're very excited to be partnering with. So we will be going for the cause, staying for the comedy, and it will be an incredible evening. Please, please join us. Tickets are on the Second City website. It's called Bits for Tits.
We will also link the website down below if you guys are interested in going, if you happen to listen to this podcast before the 6th. Yeah, I'm so excited for you. Jana has run her section of the show for me, the opening and her set, and it's really great, guys. It's going to be so fun. I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you for putting this together, for creating, building, do you weld a table?
I gave that whole table metaphor not knowing how to make it.
For anyone that knows how to make a table,
drop it in the comments.
Drop it in the comments below. Let us know. If my dream were to make a table, what would step one be?
The first 3 steps.
But I'm so proud of you and so inspired by you and so excited for you. And this is a major opportunity. I mean, Second City is no joke. Partnering with the National Breast Cancer Foundation, unbelievable. Creating your own show with a kick-ass lineup. Like, I want to like scream from the rooftops and be like, I have the fucking coolest friends on the planet doing amazing shit in this world. And
but you know why that is, Amanda? It's because you're a really good friend and you welcome other people to your table. To bring it all back, I am so happy to have you in my Lioness pack.
Oh, right back at you, baby girl. If people want to find you, is Instagram the best way?
Yeah, you can find me at photogenic13, PHOTOJANIC 13 on Instagram. You can visit my website, www.jana/bernard.com. You can say hi to me on the streets in New York.
You could come to one of her comedy shows if you follow her.
You can come to a stand-up show.
Yeah, if you follow her on Instagram, she posts all of her shows that she does live in New York City. If you're not able to make it to Bits for Tits, you're missing out. But she performs all the time, so catch a show. She's great. Jana, I fucking love you.
I love you so much. You're the best. I'm so proud of you, and I'm calling it now, Amanda. You're going places, kid.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ron.
Love you so much.
I love you.
Bye. Thanks, guys.